They whisper about him in the dark. They say he's not the same. What happened to him? He walked into his own hell and didn't just survive. He conquered it. Even the darkness bows when he enters the room. Even the shadows step aside. He is not haunted by his demons anymore. He commands them.
Even my demons kneel now. There was a time when they owned me. There was a time when the voices in my head were louder than my heartbeat. They screamed at me in the silence. They clawed at my sanity in the dead of night. They told me I was nothing. They told me I would never rise. They told me I was born to suffer, born to crawl, born to break beneath the weight of my own existence. And for a while, I believed them. I let them control me. I let them dictate my every move, my every thought, my every breath. I was a prisoner in my own mind, chained to fears I didn't create, haunted by wounds I didn't deserve. The demons fed on my weakness. They grew fat on my despair. They whispered poison into my soul and watched me wither from the inside out. But something changed. Something deep within me snapped. Not broke, snapped, like a chain pulled too tight, like a door forced open after years of being locked. I looked into the mirror one night, eyes hollow, body trembling, soul fractured, and I saw them. I saw every demon that had ever tormented me staring back at me through my own reflection. They were waiting for me to collapse, waiting for the final surrender, waiting for the moment I would give up and let them consume what was left of me. But I didn't collapse. I didn't surrender. I smiled, and that smile terrified them because in that moment I realized something they never wanted me to know. They were only as powerful as I allowed them to be. They were only as loud as my silence let them become. They were only as strong as my weakness permitted. And I was done being weak. I was done being silent. I was done letting them feast on my suffering while I starved for peace. I grabbed my demons by the throat, not with my hands but with my will. I looked them in the eye and I said, "You will not own me anymore. You will not control me anymore. You will not define me anymore." And they laughed. They laughed because they had heard it before. They had heard the empty promises, the desperate pleas, the hollow declarations of strength that crumbled at the first sign of pressure. But this time was different. This time I wasn't begging. I wasn't hoping. I wasn't praying for salvation. I was declaring war. Even my demons kneel now. I went to war with myself. I fought battles no one will ever see. I bled in places no one will ever touch. I screamed into voids that swallowed every sound and gave nothing back. I clawed my way through darkness so thick it felt like drowning in black water. And every time I fell, I got back up. Every time they pushed me down, I rose again. Every time they told me it was over, I showed them it was just beginning. I stopped running from the shadows. I turned around and faced them. I stopped hiding from the pain. I walked into it with my chest bare and my eyes open. I stopped fearing the monster under my bed. I became something the monster fears. They wanted me to break. They wanted me to shatter into 1,000 pieces and scatter into the wind like dust. They wanted me to become another ghost, another forgotten soul, another casualty of the war within. But I refused. I refused to let them write my ending. I refused to let them carve my tombstone while I still had breath in my lungs. I took every wound they gave me and turned it into a weapon. I took every scar and made it armor. I took every tear and let it harden into steel. They thought my pain would destroy me. Instead, it forged me. They thought my suffering would be my grave. Instead, it became my throne. Even my demons kneel now. They look at me differently now. The same voices that once screamed at me now whisper in reverence. The same shadows that once chased me now follow at my heels like loyal servants. The same fears that once paralyzed me now part like waves when I walk through them. I am not their victim anymore, I am their master. I didn't exorcise my demons, I didn't cast them out, I didn't pretend they didn't exist. No, I did something far more powerful. I dominated them, I made them understand that I'm no longer the frightened child they once tormented. I am no longer the broken soul they once fed upon. I am the one who walks through fire and doesn't burn. I am the one who drowns in darkness and doesn't die. I am the one who faces hell itself and doesn't flinch. They call me cold now. They say I've changed. They say there's something different in my eyes, something distant, something dangerous. And they're right. I have changed. The warmth that once made me vulnerable has been replaced by a fire that makes me unstoppable. The softness that once made me a target has been replaced by edges sharp enough to cut through anything that stands in my way. I am not apologizing for what I've become. I am not explaining myself to those who never walked through my fire. I am not justifying my transformation to those who never fought my battles. They don't understand because they were never meant to. This journey was mine alone. This war was mine alone. This victory is mine alone. Even my demons kneel now. And let me tell you something about demons. They never leave. They never disappear. They never truly die. They wait. They watch. They test you when you least expect it. They whisper when you think you've found peace. They claw at you when you think you're finally free. But the difference now is that I am ready. I am always ready. I have trained myself to meet them in battle at a moment's notice. I have conditioned my mind to recognize their tricks, their lies, their manipulations. When they come for me now, they find no weakness to exploit. They find no fear to feed on. They find no cracks in my armor to slip through. They find only a warrior who has already defeated them 1,000 times. A warrior who knows their every move before they make it. A warrior who smiles when they attack because he knows the outcome before the battle even begins. I have become the nightmare that nightmares fear. I have become the darkness that swallows other darkness. I have become the monster that monsters run from, not because I wanted to, but because I had to, because survival demanded it, because evolution required it, because the alternative was annihilation. Even my demons kneel now, so let them come, let them try again, let them throw everything they have at me. I will not fall, I will not break, I will not bow. I have walked through every hell they could create. I have survived every torment they could devise. I have conquered every battle they could wage. And I am still here, standing, breathing, burning. They wanted to see me destroyed. They wanted to watch me crumble. They wanted to celebrate over my corpse. But instead, they kneel. They kneel because they have no other choice. They kneel because they finally understand what I am. They kneel because even demons recognize a king when they see one. I am not haunted anymore. I am not hunted anymore. I am not afraid anymore. The war is over, and I won. Not because I was the strongest from the beginning, not because I was born unbreakable, but because I refused to stay broken. Because I chose to rise when everything told me to fall. Because I decided that my demons would serve me or be destroyed by me. Even my demons kneel now, and they will kneel forever. I walk alone because I finally understand the price of a company. I have tasted the banquet of false smiles, the bitter feast of empty praise, and I I will not eat from that table again. They once circled me like moths around a lantern, whispering that together we would shine brighter. But their light was counterfeit, thin paper lanterns soaked in gasoline, waiting to set me ablaze for their warmth. I felt their hands, velvet on the surface, claws beneath. I let them near, I let them feed, and piece by piece, they hollowed me until my own name rang like an echo in an abandoned cathedral. Now the echo is all that's left, and I claim it. I walk roads where the asphalt sweats under a pitiless sun, where shadows stretch like long fingers that never quite touch me. I welcome the silence because it is honest. Silence will not betray. Silence will not trade my heart for a moment's amusement. I remember the night I broke, the night I realized that love was a leash disguised as a ribbon. They spoke of loyalty while sharpening their knives. They laughed as they tightened the noose of their expectations, smiling as if I should be grateful for the rope. But a rope, no matter how beautifully braided, still strangles. So I cut it. I cut it with the blade of my own awakening. I felt the snap vibrate through my bones, and in that vibration, I heard the hymn of freedom, a sound older than language, a thunder older than storms. They said I would crumble without them. They said the world would devour me. They forgot I am the storm. They forgot I am the one who devours. I stand in the ruins of every false friendship like a monument carved from midnight stone. The wind here is sharp, but it carries no lies. It tastes of iron and rain and the slow burn of truth. Here I breathe without permission. Here, my heartbeat is not an apology. Better to stand alone than to kneel among thieves. Better to walk the wasteland than to share a palace with those who weigh my worth like a coin and spend me when convenient. I have learned the language of wolves. I have learned the patience of mountains. I have learned that solitude is not emptiness. It is the forge where real strength is hammered from molten will. Once, I begged to be understood. I bent myself into shapes that pleased them, twisted my spine into their idea of beauty, pressed my voice into their idea of harmony. They clapped while I bled. They smiled while I disappeared. Never again. I would rather be a lighthouse on a dead coast, beams slicing the Black Sea, than a candle trembling in a crowded room. A candle can be snuffed with a sigh. A lighthouse endures tempests and still burns its signal through the dark. They call me cold now. They call me heartless. But my heart beats hotter than theirs ever did. It beats with the fire of 1,000 betrayals welded into armor. My solitude is not weakness. It is a citadel, a high wall of iron sky. I do not crave their applause. I do not bend for their comfort. The air is thinner up here, yes, but it is pure. I breathe deep and it tastes of clarity. They wander below, trading pieces of their souls for fleeting companionship, passing their hearts around like currency. Let them. I am not for sale. I walk the cliff's edge where the sea hurls itself against the rocks, relentless, unbroken. The salt spray baptizes me in its ferocity. I feel the ocean's roar in my veins and know this truth. I would rather face the endless waves alone than drift in a fleet of hollow ships.